So let's look at this example. So here we're asked to find percentiles from a frequency table as opposed to the list of data. So let's see how this is done. So 40 bus drivers were asked how many hours they spend each day running their routes rounded to the nearest hour. And we want to find certain percentiles. So the frequency table is given. So there's people who said they spend 2, 3, 4, 5 hours en route. The frequency tells you like 12 bus drivers spend 2 hours, 14 bus drivers spend 3 hours, and so on. These are rounded to the nearest hour. And we're also given the relative and cumulative frequencies. All right. So to find the 65th percentile. So percentile, the 65th percentile gives you the value of the data. So we need the value, or the data value. That's a better way to phrase it. So data value that has 65% of the data below it. Right, so we need one particular data point in our set where 65% of the data is lower than that particular data value. So that's what the 65th percentile means. A percentile is one of your data points, or if it's not exactly a data point, it's like an average between two data points. Okay? So here in my frequency table, if you imagine the frequency of 12 means that you have like 12 twos listed. There's 12 twos together. And there's 14 threes listed. So there's 14 threes. And there's 10 fours. And then there's 4 fives. There's 4 of these. Okay? So there's lots of points, and we don't really want to list all of them and figure out the 65th percentiles. So basically you look at the cumulative frequency. Okay? So we go, the cumulative relative frequency says we have 30.3 or 30% is basically of twos, and 65% is twos and threes. So the 65th percentile is basically located right here, because this data value between 3 and 4, basically at the boundary between 3 and 4, we have 65% of the data are twos and threes. So this is the 65th percentile right here. And because it's at the boundary between 3 and 4, we're going to average these. So it's going to be halfway between 3 and 4. So the 65th percentile is 3.5. All right, let's look at the first quartile. So the first quartile means the 25th percentile. So we're looking for the point in my data set where 25% of the data is below it. So if I look at the relative frequency, at the end of the twos, we have 30%. So 30% of the data is all twos. So the 25th percentile must be somewhere in the middle of the twos. Right, so the 25th percentile is a 2. Right, the median is the 50th percentile. So we got to figure out where, at which data point we're exactly halfway there. So from the relative frequency, so the twos, once you stop it, this is the 30th percentile. If I count all the threes, we get to the 60th percentile. So the 50th percentile must be in the middle of the threes somewhere. So the 50th percentile is a data point of 3. out of all those threes. The 80th percentile, let's see. So let's look at the relative frequency. So at the end of the 4s, we're at the 90th percentile. At the end of the 3s, we're the 65th percentile. So the 80th percentile must be somewhere in the middle of the 4s. So this is going to be 4. That's it. So that's how you find percentile using a frequency table.